Hi everyone, welcome to another week of Double Cross Anime. Today we do the double episodes from all the shows that we covering so far, which is Hina Matsuri, the end of Hina Matsuri actually. So episode 11 and 12.
Yep.
Episode 11 and 12 of Megalobox. Uh, Episode 10 of Piano no Mori, episode 10 and 11 of Hisone no maso-tan, and the last five episode batch of Rose of Versailles. I'm Mario, and here's with me is another super whooper.
Yes, that's me, Super Whooper. Thank you for having me, as always.
Alright. So, Whooper, which show you want to start first today?
Um, well, we've been saving Rose of Versailles for last every time. We can keep doing that. I really don't want to start with Piano no Mori. I've had it up to here with that show. I'm sick of it.
Really?
Let's not start off on that note.
Alright. I think it's a step improvement from the last episode that we seen.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Wait,
Alright, let's start with another show then.
The last episode was terrible, right? It was episode.
Yeah, it was terrible. It was one of my least favorite.
The episode 8 was the one that was good, where it was like bringing everyone to Poland for the Chopin competition and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then episode 9 was the one where they were just like sitting around. It was the preliminary rounds.
That's right.
It looked terrible and yeah. I mean, I thought this one was more of the same.
Nope.
Let's just talk about it because we disagree. So we can start with that.
All right.
So I obviously didn't like
this
it.
one went.
And you liked it a little more.
Tell
me. You tell me.
Right.
You tell me more about like how you thought it improved.
All right. So unlike last time when we start just the blood pre-qualifying, this time we come to the main draw, the main competition itself.
Yeah.
And they give us an opportunity to see like all the main players in play. So I actually like many of the characters that introduced this time. So there was a Chinese who played exactly like the teachers.
Yeah, his name was Pang Wei, and he played like Ajuno. That's what Kai noticed when he was playing on stage. He was like, "This is Ajuno's sound."
Yeah, and like he refused to let people know that like he was influenced by Ajuno, but I think he actually was like he tried to play the same style as Ajuno, so he have a like so he's so kind of competitor right now.
Yeah. He was definitely influenced by Ajuno because near the end of the episode when he overhears Kai's new friend, the other Japanese guy who's like the comic relief character, he overhears that guy say Kai's name and like his ears perk up and he goes, Kai, Ajuno's pupil. So he's obviously he's aware. He's not only aware of Ajuno as a pianist, and he's clearly like influenced by his style, but he's also aware of what Ajuno is doing right now, and that he's one of the two people, along with Jean-Jacques Serrault, like the legend, who's backing Kai like in his entrance in this tournament. So it's clear that he's lying when he's saying, "Oh yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. I play my own style." So he's a bit of a villain, looks like right now.
Yep. So we got him. We got the guy who apparently like played before Shuhei.
Yeah.
Who
Adamski.
you just mentioned. Yeah, Adamski you just mentioned, and I think the gag between him and Shuhei was pretty awkward.
Yes, the thing in the bathroom.
Yeah, the thing is a bathroom.
Yeah, that was bizarre.
That's what lame. Yes.
even more than being awkward, like I didn't understand what we were supposed to get from it. If I mean the goal that the show had set for itself with that scene was, oh, we're supposed to think at first that the guy's a jerk and that he's just trying to
Mhm.
make Shuhei or
Loosening
Amamiya.
up.
Yeah. Where
Yeah.
he's supposed to make him like nervous. That's what we think at first. And then afterwards
Yep.
we realize, "Oh yeah, no, he's everybody's pal, you know. He's a cool guy. He's just joking around." But can't you do that without setting a scene in the bathroom where he's making jokes about like his sister performing
Yep.
like favors for him
Mm-hmm.
of a questionable nature? I don't know. That was just like a what the hell Japan moment for me.
Right. And there was a girl who played like in the beginning.
Yeah, with the spaghetti strap that on her dress that
Yeah.
breaks.
See that that incredibly unbelievable for me. That just you know like how often you see like a girl to like how often you see like that incidents in real life.
Yeah, and then for it
It's
to
just
happen in the middle
unbelievable,
of a
man.
piano competition. The you know
Yeah.
what that
Oh,
the her dress her wardrobe malfunction while she's playing the piano, that's like a plot development that belongs in Rose of Versailles.
that that's right.
It
Yes.
doesn't
And
I don't want to see it in this show, but here it was.
you know what? Rose of Versailles didn't go that way, go that far either.
No, it didn't.
That yeah. Well, so yes. So I still like all of the new characters. I think they add something um to the show.
Well,
But
what
the
about the
way
reporters?
oh yes, the report. She's alright. She kind of like we get to see like how like the players through the eyes of through the point of views,
Right.
which I find of yeah I find her sometime hilarious.
Okay, I did not like her.
All right, at all. All right,
No,
tell me more about that.
well, I mean, it's like you said at the start, we're moving into a new territory for the show because a whole bunch of characters are flying at us left and right as they perform on the stage.
Mm-hmm.
At the now that we're in the main competition, so the show the idea is we need a character who can facilitate our introduction to the new characters and a reporter
Mm-hmm.
who is going to be going from person to person and looking for interviews and stuff. That's one way to do that. So I kind of just felt as though she was a tool that the show was using to introduce all these new players. I didn't really feel as though she had a lot of personality. She does have an edge to like her journalistic angle because she's rather than being a music
Mm-hmm.
journalist, she works for a gossip rag of some kind.
Yep. Yep.
So she's asking, indirectly the girl whose dress broke. I don't remember her name. The model. She's like,
Yep.
"Oh,
Yep.
don't worry, you made a big impression," kind of implying that she did it on purpose.
Yep.
So she does have a little bit of life and a little bit of spark to her, but I don't know. I guess I
She's
just
still
didn't really like her, and
she's still yep. She's still just a tool.
yeah,
Yeah,
I saw
I
her
get
that way.
I get what you mean though. I see her and there was some church who served as as a tool as uh a guy who tell us like how well the player plays.
Yeah,
It
that's
usually like
classic for anime.
yeah that classical and sometimes we will get like only reactions face. Oh my god, they did it, and yes.
Yeah, but
So
we can't feel any emotion when we're watching these damn
all right,
performances. They
all
suck
right.
so bad.
Nah, it because we're not good enough to enjoy all the tunes, I suppose.
Okay, so do you remember the wardrobe malfunction girl? Uh, the only time that we saw
All
the
right.
actual keys on the piano were it was the very
Yep.
last note of her very last piece because you're supposed to play for 40 to 45 minutes. That's what somebody in the crowd said. Like Kai's new friend probably when he was explaining the format. So it was
Mhm.
we're supposed to believe that it was a 45-minute performance that of course they had to edit down for time. but the only time we see the keys are when she hits the last note on the last measure of the last song. And it's just her pressing them down one time and that's it. Like there's no artistry to the artistic performances in the show. I'm sick of this shit.
All right. For better or for much worse, Piano no Mori is a traditional show with all the traditional storytelling and the traditional way to express the on the aesthetic thing that we Jesus says. So yes, it it doesn't help that the production isn't that good. Like always, like we all knows.
Okay, I just sent you a picture in the Skype chat. Do you see that?
Uh, it's loading right now.
Okay. When you
I'm
when
waiting
you
for that.
when you get it and when it loads, you're gonna see it's a
All
crowd
right.
shot
Yep.
where Amamiya is talking to his
Mm-hmm.
dad. His dad's explaining something to him about
Yep.
I don't know, who cares? Who cares what it is? Look at the
Mm-hmm.
members of the crowd who are behind Ajino.
All
No, I'm
right.
sorry, not
Yep.
Ajino. Amamiya and his dad. Do you see there are just a whole bunch of CGI characters and they put a filter on them to blur them for depth of field effect and also to hide the all just the CG mess back there.
Yep.
This
Yep.
is like a
All
perfect
right. Yes.
encapsulation of this series, this photo. And I'm
All
gonna
right.
put it
I
like
won't agree with.
when I upload it to
I won't
YouTube.
agree
I'm
against you
gonna
with that.
when I upload this to YouTube, I'm gonna put the photo in there so everybody can see what I'm talking about. It's hideous, man.
Yep.
And
All
it
right.
honestly it makes me
I'm
lose
agree with
interest in
you.
the story. When it looks like this, I don't feel motivated to take the characters seriously or the story seriously. Because it is
That's
anime,
all
it's
right.
animation.
So next week we're gonna have Kai actually playing in that tournament, and we can see like all the players' reaction to his playing. So yep, at least that's that's the last. That might be the last thing that we saw in Piano no Mori, because I it's like you. I'm not that interested to see how Piano no Mori play out in the end. But
Yeah.
maybe yeah, but maybe next episode we can see like like how it goes, how it can end for us in a good note.
Maybe. But we do keep saying that every time we talk about this series. We say, well, let's just see what happens next week. Well, maybe next week will be better. Well, let's see what happens in the next
Uh-huh.
episode.
For me, it
Ah!
was slightly better. So
Yeah, so like we're if anybody's new to the podcast, what we usually do at the start of a season is we watch a whole bunch of series, like the first episode, and then we vote on which ones that we want to discuss. So I was originally planning to put an episode, like a mid-season episode of Piano no Mori in there, so it could try to earn its spot for the second core. But at this point, I don't even think like it's not even among the 10 series that I'm most interested in heading into summer. So
yeah, I'm not interested to see it either. But let's just see for the next episode if it can improve itself.
all right, I guess
I'm
for one
I'm
more week, I will check out
yeah,
the next episode.
I'm giving it another chance again.
Okay, you're, you're a patient man and a generous one too.
Yes. Yeah.
Any last thoughts
All
about
right.
Piano no Mori? I know you like a lot of the new characters.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Nah. I think you will absolutely just put our all of our last thought already. So yes, I have nothing else to say about Piano no Moris.
All right. What should we do next, Mario?
You want to address Hina matsuri and
Sure.
final impressions?
Yeah, so we'll
Right.
do episodes 11 and 12, and then we'll wrap it up with our thoughts on the show overall. You want to start us
That's right.
off?
Let's say Hina matsuri. So we got two two episodes about basically about like all the members of the cast. It's not all, but it's more about Nita. It's more about um, so the episode 11 is more about Nita, and episode 12 is more about Hina opening up her secret
Right.
with other people,
And then Mao in the
and
second half.
then Miles, which actually is the bookend of
Right.
the very first moment that we see,
Yeah,
and
I
three
thought
years
that
later,
was
even
yeah, I thought that was
how
interesting.
yeah, I thought that interesting as well, but I don't think it's work well. How do you think about the that bookend, like the 3 years forwards?
Um, it
It's
seems to me that Feel, the studio who did this series, are angling for
yep.
a second season
Mm-hmm.
with this conclusion. It
I
seems
I
like
do think
they're
so. Yes.
yeah, it seems like they're leaving the door open because although they did start and finish the season the same way to give it a sort of closed loop. The two
Mm-hmm.
ends, the beginning and the end, really had very little to do with what was in the middle, making it feel like a first chapter almost, or a first
Yeah.
book.
It
Not
make me feel like yep. It's make me feel like an introduction to
right,
to whatever come later.
right, because the time skip, the 3 year time skip that you mentioned earlier, happens at the very end, um, right before we get all that business with Mao wrapping everything up. Um, And so that begs the question, what is going on with Hina now? What's going on with Nita now? And Anzu and
Mm-hmm.
Hitomi, since 3 years have
Mm-hmm.
passed. And we don't,
That's right.
as far as I remember, I mean, I watched the episode only a couple hours ago. As far as I remember, we don't get an answer to that question. Because we have a big montage after Hina's A plot in episode 12. There's a
Mm-hmm.
montage of all the
Mm-hmm.
characters who we know. And so at the very end, it's just Mao's thing, and that's it.
Yeah, and you know what? We like the montage that you just mentioned. I was like, where is Mao? Where is Mao?
Yeah.
And they didn't show us any Mao until the last book, and which I
I,
still don't know what I think about that.
I was okay with it, and I think the reason I was okay with it is because we got one of her stories. I think in episode 9, the one where she's like reenacting the plot of Castaway on the
Mm-hmm,
island
mm-hmm,
by herself.
mm-hmm.
She gets teleported there. Um, Her re-entering the series so late in the game kind of prepared me for the fact that we weren't going to get enough about her. And anime adaptations in
Mm-hmm.
general are just messy things, like of ongoing manga series. We had the
Yep.
whole business with Koiwa Amayagari in the winter season. I was
Mm-hmm.
constantly like every episode that we covered that show, I was wringing my hands like is it going to wrap up? Are they going to do this right? So
Mm-hmm.
that just happens when you're dealing with anime adaptations. Um, and I was okay with this one because I like the show overall. I wouldn't say it's great,
Mm-hmm.
but I did
Yep.
enjoy it. So let's go
All
back
right.
to
So
let's
so
go back
let
to episode 11.
let that, that's right. That's right. So in episode 11 we have like the two part again with the plot is Nita. There is some reporter who want to portray Nita as some kind of monstrous yakuza,
Right.
and turn out Nita is just a regular nice guy.
Yeah, that's
I
literally all I wrote in my notes. I did not have any other notes about that segment whatsoever.
All right. So you remember how you feel about that that note?
I don't know. I definitely didn't laugh. I'm not sure I even smiled one time.
All right. So you didn't like it then.
Not very much. No, I was okay with it. Like it held my interest. That's kind of my standard for anime. As terrible as
Yeah.
that sounds, it just needs to like hold my interest. And it did. I appreciated the construction of the story and how it was like you know, a comedy
I
of
think the
lies and like lies piling on
yeah
top of lies.
yeah I think the punt is when we see the actual documentary about like how just how different, just how badass Nita is, and it's not Nita, the one we know. I think that's the punch that the that's that segment want us to feel,
Right.
and it was alright. It wasn't that hilarious. It's alright. Yeah, it does its job.
Yeah. Like all the pixeled out faces and the modified voices, like to protect the identities of everyone involved and stuff. That I mean, that gave it a little bit of a funny edge to it,
Yeah,
I suppose.
and
But
and, and you know that the with even with on the face being blur and on the voice being enter, the hair of Nita actually give him away.
oh sure,
I don't,
yeah,
yeah, I don't I don't think like anyone except for the rock star have that blonde hairs
right,
style in his
yeah.
mastery.
In
But
general, blonde hair is probably a giveaway in Japan.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
So
and Hina has the blue hair, and of course, and her hair was also like there were some shots in that little mini documentary where it was the two of them sitting next to each other or walking next to each other. They both
yep,
have their heads totally pixeled out, but you it's just so obvious,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know.
that's just so obvious.
But to people who
So
are watching it on TV, they don't know those people.
that's right. So I think episode 11 is a play, is a hilarious play at the notion of a good guy. So in the second segment we have Nita and Anzu.
Yes,
So Nita had to basically babysit Anzu, but Anzu turned out to be just like a perfect girl, unlike Hina.
yeah,
So Nita tried to like try to spoil her and try to get like the best side of her, but it turned out that he too was influenced by her goodness.
right. I
And
like this story a little more than the first one, probably because I just like Anzu.
yeah, I just like Anzu. She have like a lot of hearts.
Yeah, she does.
But that actually raised me a concern that they the show tried to frame Anzu a bit too goody now.
Yeah, well, that sometimes that
I
happens
like
in comedies. They take a character trait and they push it
that's right.
really far.
Yeah, I like a little bit more edge to Anzu. We know that she worked a prep before and she have mature scenes, but I want she to be like sometimes she define what we think about her more. Like now she's just too good, and she's good at being too good, but still.
Okay, yeah, I see. I don't agree because I really like the way that her character is developed. So I think it was
Alright.
appropriate to use her in this way, kind of to point out, especially after like we see that Nito's just a normal guy, in the first
Mm-hmm,
segment,
mm-hmm.
despite what the reporter portrayed him as. In the second segment,
Yep.
we see that there actually is like a vindictive side. He gets angry at the elderly couple that runs the Chinese place.
He got jealous.
Yes, exactly. And
Yes.
he wants to spoil, like he wants to corrupt their daughter
Yep.
so that they won't have such an easy time anymore. So he actually is kind of rotten-hearted at his
Mm-hmm.
core. So he and Hina really belong together.
Yeah, that's yes.
Uh,
You're right.
So I think the contrast between him and Anzu is appropriate. But with that being said, I understand completely what you're saying. And yeah, I mean, even though Anzu is just a girl who's trying to learn her way in the world, she's also a super powerful psychic alien.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you don't want her to be too good. And I can understand your feelings about her being taken too far in that direction.
Yeah, but for that segment alone, it's work. I just hope that like when if ever there will be a sequel, she won't be that good anymore. I just hope that she won't be that good anymore. But then again, it's like 3 years later that we see her
Right. That means she'll
in
be like
this.
a teenager, so she'll be moody and bratty. So
That's right.
look forward to that.
Yep. And for the last episode, the final one, we got Hina and Hitomi and the two boys stranded in the forest.
Yep. In the snow.
I yeah I was thinking that like it's more Nita involved in the story, but turned out that just they they four interacting to each other. Um,
Yeah, how
so
did you feel about the two boys? Because last time they showed up, you said that you really liked them as characters.
well, I like the girl more. I like the other girl, the girl with the glasses more than the two boys.
Okay.
Uh, this time they play like the normal buddies for me, so they not stand out at all.
Yeah.
Not in the bad way, not in the good way.
Yeah, I feel pretty
They
much the
they
same.
just there. Yeah.
They were just there.
So
I actually kind of felt that about the first half of episode 12. It was just there. Hina reveals her powers. That's the big moment. That's the bombshell moment, if you could call it that.
yeah,
Um,
it's
and the other three kids work
all right. It's
together to
more of
go ahead.
yeah. It's more of the emotional progress for Hina because he now share her secret to her friends. So like she should people more to do that. So yes, that was like the big payoff for us.
Yeah, I didn't really feel the payoff part. Um,
Mm.
I like Hina to me is not a character who's built for growth.
Mm.
So when the show attempts it, there's only like a 50-50 chance that it's going to succeed or that I'm really going to like it or appreciate it. And in this
Mm-hmm.
one, like the way that the other three kids, Hitomi and the two guys, try to, trick her into getting her energy back so she can use her powers, and
Mm.
it didn't feel really, heartfelt or anything to me. And
Mm.
that's, I mean, it's a comedy. You gotta go for the laughs, uh,
Yeah.
first and foremost. But I do the part of this show that I most enjoy is it's more sentimental, um,
Mm-hmm.
more character progression focused side.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
So those are my thoughts. Did
Yeah.
you like
Well,
episode 11 or episode 12 more?
well, as of now, Hina Matsuri just play like a normal Hina Matsuri for me, so I enjoy it for what it is. So I don't particularly like some episode more than the others.
Okay,
So like that's just a roundabout way to say that I enjoy both of them the same.
gotcha.
Alright.
I think I'm kind of the same. Like I like the second plots of both episodes way more than the first. So on the Anzu babysitting episode segment, I
Mm-hmm.
guess, in episode 11, and
Yep.
I did like the Mao segment just because as a standalone thing. I know it did function as a conclusion to this 12 episode series, but on its own, I really liked it. I thought it was pretty funny. Like when they unveil the metal robot with the spinning arms.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
For some reason that made me laugh. Just the appearance of the robot and everyone like freaking out about how it was indestructible and you shouldn't be forcing this on a young girl. She can like no one could ever defeat it. That no like me knowing that she's an alien with like superpowers and stuff and she would easily
Yep.
be able to defeat it. I was anticipating that.
Yep.
Um, and we also got to hear "Watashi no smartphone"
Yeah.
again.
That was funny. Yes.
Yeah,
But well they actually recycle on the shot from the first episodes, but yeah, I still like it.
yeah. Oh my God, that action, those sweet in between frames. Oh,
Yep.
so awesome.
All right. So what do you think about Hinamatsuri in general?
Um, I enjoyed watching it when Anzu was on screen. When Anzu was not on
All right.
screen, it still held my attention, and
Yep.
I still was able to pay attention and appreciate the show. But there were
All right.
Anzu's bits like sometimes they really got me. Like I was tearing up especially in the earlier ones when
Mm-hmm.
she's learning from the homeless guys and she's learning from her new adoptive parents. To me, that's the highlight of the show. So I
I think
enjoy
that's
it.
the most. Yep, I agree. That's the most emotional scenes out of this show.
Yeah.
All right, what do you think about Hina Matsuri as a comedy show?
As a comedy, well, I mean, I'm not that into anime comedies. Um,
Mm-hmm.
the kind of anime comedy that I like, well, I guess it varies. I like Pop Team Epic earlier this year because it was just nuts and it was totally
Yep.
experimental and weird and offered a lot of commentary on the industry that it was a part of. And I also
Mm-hmm.
like Hozuki no Retetsu. I can't
Mm-hmm.
pronounce it, but it's it's airing right now. It's about like a bureaucrat in hell who helps to manage where dead souls go for their punishments, and that's more of a straight up comedy with a lot of Japanese mythological stuff. So the kind of anime comedy that I like is varied. This one is a little bit more sentimental, and I like that. But for example, the thing about the documentary in the first half of episode 11, like that did not
Mm-hmm.
get one chuckle out of me. So as a comedy, um, I I wouldn't say that I really liked it. I'd say it was
Mm-hmm.
okay.
Have you watched Chintama though?
I watched 3 episodes of Gintama once,
Alright,
and they did not pull me in.
alright. Because it's supposed to be like one of the most hilarious shows in anime. I watched a few of them. I actually saw some of the same vibe from Hinamatsuri to Gintama in terms of humor.
What, just like huge reaction faces and general silliness?
No, it it's on the premise as well. So in Gintama we have the supernatural and we have like alien as well,
Right.
and we have yeah and some of the humor, some of the comedy. I'm it's more like ob- uh observe. It more like like it um so I think the comedy in Hinamatsuri is more like uh put on the character into some bizarre situations, and we have a chuckle out of it because we don't know, we like the character don't know what to expect of it. So like in term of that, it 60-70% succeed.
Okay.
When it become like unpredictable, so when we can get we can guess what coming, it's funny. But when it become like predictable, like the one we just had in episode 11 plot 8, we know how it will turn out. It doesn't actually be very funny. So that's what I think about the humor in Hinamatsuri as a whole.
Okay. Yeah, I agree
uh,
for the most part.
uh, yeah, and as for the show in general, judging in the comedy, it actually do a pretty good job as on the sentimental stuff that you just say. So like Anzu get the most out of it. He to me sometime rise a bit. I don't really buy the main relationship between Nita and Hina, but I do enjoy that time altogether. I just don't enjoy the like the bond between them.
Yeah, well, I think that's because they don't really have much of a bond, right? We know that
Mm-hmm.
they're both petty and shallow. So
Mm-hmm.
they're not necessarily suited for one another, but they are kind of similar in that way. So they don't have the same bond that say um, Anzu does with the homeless guys early on. Or
That that's right. Mm-hmm.
I was going to provide another example from this show, but that was literally the only one I could think of because every other relationship is like dopey.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
Hitomi has a terrible, strained relationship with her mother.
yeah, and Utako as well.
Right. That's right. Yeah, did you see the side eye that she gave Utako for drinking behind the bar at work? in
Yep,
these
yep,
last
yep.
two episodes. I can't remember whether it was 11 or 12.
No, that's the last episode. That's on the montage that we watch.
Okay, gotcha.
Yep,
Yeah, I was like,
yep.
I was proud of her. I was like, yeah, stand up for yourself. Tell your boss to go in another room to drink. She's supposed to be
No,
working.
it's more like it's more like she become the boss now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Maybe that's what happens in the 3 year time skip is she takes over the bar and
Yeah, well,
she's like 16 years old or something running
I'm
a
not
bar.
surprised.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's nowhere for her to go but up.
Yep, that's that what exactly right. So
She's
yeah, I enjoy Hina matsuri like week by week. It's not the thing that I that make me think about it a lot. But yeah, I can say the same that I with like many anime out there that I can enjoy it in a weekly basis. So yes, it's still a thumb up for me. Hina
I
matsuri.
Yeah, I think of these four shows, it's probably my favorite. I know you have another one that you would put above it.
Maybe.
Yeah. Well, we'll
Yep.
find that out at the end of the season when we do our our little
Yep.
look back at everything that we watched.
All
I do
right.
have a question though before we move on to the next show. What is your if you had to name like one show that you consider the gold standard for anime comedy, what would it be?
All right. That's gonna be hard. I like gag shows. I like the show that all about gag. So like psychic. That's why psychic can work for me.
Right?
As for the standard comedy go, I think I would go to Nichichu, the Kyoto animation show.
Yeah.
My ordinary life. I think
Right.
that's what the English name.
Okay. I would
because
go
because it's
ahead.
have yep because it's have on the gag show that I told you, and it's just funny.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. Nichijou is
What is your
yeah.
choice?
I was just curious, and I think it might be beneficial for our listeners to know as well, so that when we're talking about like whether we like a comedy or we don't, they know what we're measuring it against, kind of in the back of our head.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so mine would be Detroit Metal City.
Oh, really?
Yes,
All right.
it has
That
a
interesting.
it has like an immature, insane, balls out type of humor to it. Um,
Yep.
and it's a comedy that's based on not just misunderstandings, but also like alternate personalities and general wackiness. And it offers a little bit of commentary on music culture and on um, the deception that performers have to engage in order to build an audience and to
Mm-hmm.
be successful. So I like yeah, I think Detroit Metal City is my favorite.
Wow.
That's
Right.
like that's what I'm looking for in an anime comedy. I guess would be something
Mm-hmm.
to match that or exceed it.
Mm-hmm.
And Hina,
All
Hina
right.
Matsuri as a comedy did not do that, but you and I have both gone over like its strengths, its best
Well,
qualities.
yeah. For the comedy itself, I think it's still actually better than many of the anime comedy that we see out there. It's like
Oh,
six
yeah, that's
six
not
to
hard.
seven out of 10.
Yeah,
Yep.
I would agree.
That's not
I
hard.
agree.
I agree.
I would put it in that range as well, numerically.
Yep. Well, anime, because anime comedy is not a high bar at all.
Yeah, I feel the same way, for the most part. All right.
Yeah, I think. Yep.
Do
Let's
you want
move
to
on to the
do?
other show.
Yeah. Do you want to do the one that I was hinting at just a second
All
ago?
right. Yep. Let's do that. So we get to the Megalobox, episode
Yes.
11 and 12.
Yes, sir.
All right. How you think about Megalobox? Whooper.
I it's these two episodes were I thought they were good. I thought they did their job. Um, I'm pretty disenchanted with Megalobox on the whole. I think
Mm-hmm.
that around the middle of its life, it it lost me a bit.
Yep.
But I'm trying to get past that feeling and to just evaluate each episode for what it is. And these were cool. They were cool.
Well, man, that's really cool. That that's what I feel as well. But you think you know that when we get into like the end of Megalobox now, I can safely say that the general plot is really predictable. Like we all know what we're gonna happen afterwards.
I don't know
What
what's
will the
gonna
end of it?
I don't know what's gonna happen at the end. Is someone's gonna die
Oh,
probably?
yeah, I think someone gonna die. Well, I mean like I mean more in term of like Joe will go to the final, and that basically we see, but we saw like many of his opponents, and actually the one that he play in the semi final, we don't really see a lot. We don't really learn a lot about him. It's more about Joe and Nambu and the kid.
Yeah. I the what was the guy's name? He was some kind of lion or
Lion,
tiger or
yep.
something.
He's a lion.
I can't remember his actual name. He did speak in English in this episode.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Um, I couldn't tell if it was a native speaker or a Japanese person doing an accent because it was kind of
Alright.
stilted. But yeah, I agree. His character was like they might as well have just put, those little cardboard stand-up displays sometimes that they put at the end of grocery store aisles with like a person holding a product and
Yep.
smiling.
Yep. Yep.
They might as well have just put one of those little cardboard cutout stand-up things like in the ring and had Joe just like tap it with his glove and had it fall over. They might as well have just done that. Uh,
So so yes, I don't really like that semi final match. But and I think the show was a bit easy on the Nambu characters, so he didn't die.
oh yeah, you said he was
Like
going to, right? You predicted that.
yeah, yeah, I suspected that, but no, the show still go easy to on him,
Uh,
just an
I don't know.
eye for
I
an
don't know
eye.
if I agree that it went
All
easy on
right,
him. He had to cut out his own eye, didn't
yeah,
he?
it's still too easy for me though.
Have you ever
But
cut
on
out
the
your
set,
own eye?
no,
Like
no,
with?
but on the setup.
Oh, I see what
So
you're saying. Yeah.
mm-hmm,
Yeah, I mean, what bothered me in particular about Nanbu is that we've seen him do the exact same thing twice now. Be the guy who's like deceiving Joe and kind of using him for his own ends, and then he grows closer to him and forms a bond with him and
mm-hmm,
Sachio, Team Nowhere. We've seen that happen twice. Once at the beginning of the show, and then once recently in the last few episodes when it was revealed that he was still working for Fujimaki.
that's right.
Um, so that's what bothers me about his character. But
And what's
he,
about sorry, go on, go. Sorry. Yep.
yeah, I mean, he did pay the price. He was like
Mm-hmm,
clutching his gaping wound where his eye once was with blood running down his face. And
yep.
he did it not just like for himself, but to protect Joe as well. Because
Mm-hmm,
Fujimaki says, "Oh no, you're misunderstanding. The kid is mine now. He fights for me." So
mm-hmm,
Nanbu kind of buys Joe's freedom with his eye.
yep. Mm-hmm,
So I do like the fact that his self-sacrifice had that impact on the story.
mm-hmm. And what another thing that bothered me is the relationship between the kid and the girl, whatever her name is. Sorry.
I can't remember
I
Yukiko, I
think
think.
it's yeah. I think I just think that relationship they make was really half-baked. It,
It didn't make any
it
sense
just
for him to be with her to begin with.
yeah, and it didn't make any sense that like she feel the way that he sees, and how everything resolved. I just don't get any of that.
Yeah.
The
I mean,
best pack for me. All right, yep, you go on.
no, okay. You do your thing, man.
All right, the best pack for me is Yuri,
Yeah.
and his decision to like get on the gear off, and he's in pain on that. That's just amazing, man.
Yeah, I actually
So
would have
he
loved a lot
willing to.
more Yuri in these episodes.
That's right. So he willing to sacrifice himself. He's willing to sacrifice the advantage that he have in order to have like a fair fight with Joe. I think that just speak to the spirit of sport in general,
Yeah,
and
I
that's
agree.
the
Well
thing that
put.
yeah, and I think that's the thing that you recall. I think that's her name is couldn't get.
Right. Yeah, it's not something that she really understands, I don't think.
Mm-hmm.
She has adopted that language of like referring to people as the real deal, but that's something that she got from Yuri.
Yep.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
and she even says at one point in one of these episodes, "I don't understand why these boxers just want to get into a ring and hit each other."
Mm-hmm.
So she's doing this just so that she can sell her contracts to the military people who are
Yep.
doing their thing. And that's like she forbids Yuri to get his gear removed, as she should, because she's the head of a business and she has to protect her own interests and the interests of her,
Mm-hmm.
her employees and her shareholders and all that. But
Yep.
yeah, she does not understand the drive that Yuri has to meet his equal, someone who he can truly like enjoy competing against, like his old coach said to him.
That's right. So yeah,
So yeah, I'm
I'm really
looking forward to the fight.
pumped for the final. Yes.
Yeah, it's gonna be cool.
How do you think it's gonna end?
I think that Joe is gonna win.
Mm-hmm.
I expect that someone will die. I'm predicting. You know what? I'm not going to predict. I honestly have no idea. I think Joe's going to win, and that Yuri, in defeat, is going to find peace because for so long he's been number one. So I
Yep.
think not only is he looking for someone to challenge him, I think he might actually be looking for someone to defeat him, and I think Joe is going to do that.
Mm-hmm. All right. I gonna think that both of them gonna die
Both of
in, at
them?
at the ring.
You're in the ring. You're really covering all your
In
bases right now.
well, I just say that with on the hints about that, not dying yet. They gonna die in the ring. They
Right.
gonna like they just fated to fight each other and they fated to die on the
I don't,
ring
I
at
don't
the
know,
ring with
man.
each other.
You said Nanbu was going to die too.
Yeah, no. Man, someone had to die. That's my verdict.
Maybe the whole thing's like a misdirect, because it's so clearly taking the story beats from Ashita no Joe. Maybe they're gonna pull the rug out from under us and be like, oh nope, it's a relatively happy end, except for Nanbu who's blind now.
All right, for Ashi no Cho, what happened in the end?
Joe dies.
Oh,
I mean, I haven't seen the series. I haven't read the manga or watched the anime.
yeah.
But Joe dies. There's actually some debate as to whether he's actually dead. So maybe it was left slightly open ended. But
Mm-hmm,
the
mm-hmm.
consensus is that the hero dies in the end.
Well, I think this one show gonna go the same path.
Yeah, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here's a question for you. How'd you feel about the rapping? Because there was a rap in each
Oh,
episode.
the rapping was awesome. I like it. I really like it. Especially the one in episode 10 when it's Sachio
Oh,
who do the rapping.
I
You
hated
had
that
that?
one.
All right, tell me why.
Oh my
Because
god,
I really like it.
I hated the beat.
Oh, your head in the beat.
Yeah, like I
All
listen to
right.
I listen to a lot of hip hop music, and I I just hate like okay, so it's a kid rapping. I understand that his voice is a little younger, and that I mean I'm sure it's an
It,
adult doing the performance, but the voice is a
mm-hmm.
little shrill, and it's a little silly. That I could get past, but I thought the beat was trash.
All
Like
right.
there were points where it wasn't even maintaining the same rhythm. I hated it.
Well, well, it in service of the story. It's more like the song within the story,
But was it
within the show.
necessary? What did we learn from the song?
Nothing, but it's just creative mood and mood. Yes, we have.
But I think the problem is that Sachio's character is like easily the weakest character in the show.
Uh, yes, because he doesn't. All right, because of the emotional struggle that he have. It just it they don't do it justice.
Yeah, like he wants revenge for his parents' death.
Parents.
But
Yeah.
yeah, but that was brought up and then dropped pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So apart from that, he's mainly just a cheerleader. Like even the fight when Joe is facing his lion dude opponent in the semifinals, he
Mm-hmm.
like bursts into the ring at the last minute and he's like, "Joe, get up. I believe in you." He's just playing
That's
the
a good.
same role that he always has.
That's a good song that you're singing there.
Maybe I could recreate the rap using that tone of voice. Find the an instrumental version of the beat someplace.
The moment that he start rapping, it reminded me of gorillas. That's why I like it.
Gorillas. That reminded you
Y-
of Gorillas, like the
Oh,
Damon Albarn project.
yeah, yeah, that's the one. Yes, I
Really?
remember. Yeah, one of like yep, one of the member who's singing like that.
Huh.
So yes. Mm-hmm.
You might have to link me to the song that you're talking about because I don't like I get no resemblance there at all.
All right, I think it's just the Clint Eastwood song. I think I can send you a link, but it just remind me of that.
Okay.
It's just the way that like the cartoon character just start to sing and rap. That
Right.
remind me of that.
Okay. I really like the one at the end of episode 12.
Mm-hmm.
That one I like much
The
more.
end. What is the end of the episode 12? Just tell
It's
me more
it's
about that.
it's the rap song that's kind of
Oh yeah, yeah,
establishing
yeah.
where we are in the story, about Joe and Yuri and how they're both like two souls that are trying to find meaning and are about to be locked in this, this huge confrontation with each other to see who's going to come out on top. And then as the song is playing, we also get glimpses of all the other characters.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was a nice way to, bring us all to the same point in the story, bring us all up to speed. And
Mm-hmm.
I thought the like the production on the track was
Mm-hmm.
like it was super synthy, and I thought it was banging. Like I thought it was really cool.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I think it may have been a woman rapping, maybe the same girl who does the ED.
All right. Uh-huh.
So I looked during the credits.
Oh,
I looked to see
speaking.
if I could find out who it was, but I can't read Japanese. So
All right. All right. Two things. Two things about what you just say me. I don't actually enjoy the OP and the ED of Megalobox. This is the only show that I skip the OP when I watch every week. I
huh.
just don't like it at
You,
all.
I would have agreed with you up until like a couple hours ago. This time I
Uh-huh.
actually watched it through and I felt it. Like
The O
I felt
the
like it
OP.
was, yeah, the OP.
All right.
I think the ED's kind of cool. I'm not in love with it, but the OP for this one, the reason I think I appreciated it so much more was because of all the cuts like back and forth between the motorcycle and the wolf. And
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
the wolf is Yuri.
The wolf is Yuri.
Yeah, like Yuri has a pet wolf, and like he
Hmm.
embodies the spirit of the wolf. Like he's a lone wolf. He kind of does things on his own. He's been waiting at the top for someone to challenge him by himself.
Uh, all right. And what is Joe then?
Joe's a dog,
All right. Yep. Stray dog.
right?
Hmm.
So the fact that we got so much more focus on Yuri in this episode, and I was able to relate it to the OP kind of, and how like aggressive and almost howling the vocals are. I appreciated it
All
more this
right.
time.
All right. So I got another thing going on, but I will address the other thing first. That was it's actually rewarding for us to see how like for the last 10 episodes we see how Joe just want to fight want to get to the Megalonia tournament just to fight with Yuri. So it's actually very rewarding to see that the last episode we see from Yuri point of view to see like how much he wanted to fight with Joe as well.
Yeah.
So yes, that was the first point I want to make, and the second point was the Megalobox actually do the character with the animal things that we just talked. So yeah, Joe as a stray dog, Yuri as a wolf. There's a lion guy that
Nanbu is a
he
scorpion.
Nampu is scorpion, and the guy who fights against Yuri in the semifinal was spiders.
The guy who, yes, that's right, Spider.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yep.
and I'm pretty sure that when we get into another character, we will see like the animal relevance of those. That actually pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I really
All
liked
right.
it.
Yep.
These
All
episodes
right.
kind of got me back on board, so I'm down with it, man.
Yep. All right. We only got the last episode to watch, so yes.
Yeah, we'll be doing that next week when we pick up our new classic show. But
Yep.
we'll more about that later.
Yep. So now head to the last show of our covering, which is
Hisone to maso-tan. Can we do this one really fast? Because we're already 56 minutes into the podcast.
all right because we don't have a lot of things to talk about that either.
Um, I took a decent amount of notes, but this show, like I messaged you on Discord,
Yeah.
saying some of these
Did you?
episodes are really, yeah, I did, saying like I'm really bored watching some of these. I'm dying getting through some of these episodes.
So that's the one.
Well, Piano no Mori and this, yes,
All right.
I was dying
Te-
of boredom during these episodes, man.
All right. Tell me more
I mean,
about.
what is there to tell? Everything that was happening on screen, I just was not interested in. I hate a large percentage of the character, like a large percentage of the cast now. Many of the characters, I think they're all silly, and the roles that they're being forced to play by the script are
Mhm.
stupid.
Uh-huh.
And I also thought this is my major criticism was in
All right.
episode 11, Mitatsu-sama, like the big OTF that they have to guide to its resting place.
Yep.
I thought that entire sequence was utter shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, like all the stuff with the clouds, like it's supposed to be a big storm that they're flying into, but it was so disappointing. Like because we didn't get a sense that the dragons were going into and out of this storm. All we saw were like a bunch of different layers of wispy looking clouds that moved to the left and the right to reveal the dragons, but we didn't get a sense of it like moving through, closer to us or farther away from us from the camera's point of view. It was mostly like horizontal movement, and I thought it was messy, and I was just terribly let down by it.
Well, I actually enjoy those scenes, but you have your point there. All right. Let's start
So that's
with
there's
his.
there's my big criticism.
All right. Let's start with Hisone and her decision to quit. Uh, what do you think about that? Because I just don't buy any of that at all.
Uh,
I just think she's running away. I just think that like she just find the best opportunity to go back. She just skip all this hard stuff, and she just like it like the decision that she quit. It's just nonsensical. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
I don't agree. It makes
All right.
sense to me that
All
she
right.
quits. It's because she values her relationship with what's his face Okonagi more
Yeah.
than her,
Her job.
more than her job. Yes, and then so her what she does in episode 11 is come to the realization that
She
Maso-tan
have.
is the
Mm,
thing that's brought her close to all these new friends and this new guy that she likes and a job that she can do and find fulfilling. So that was what she figured out in episode 11 after she ran away. So
um,
it does make
oh my
sense
god,
to
I don't.
me, but it didn't really make me
I
feel as though her character had grown very much. I understand what the show is doing on paper,
Yeah.
but the show already lost me with regards to Hisone's character. So
And
although I know
mhm,
what direction it wants it to go in, I
mhm.
understand that. I don't really respect it, and I don't really enjoy it.
All right. And the other thing that really bugged me is the way that the old woman, the old woman,
Sada-san.
she's she fly maso-tan again, which
Yeah.
I think that place should reserve to now, because now is she's ready to fight. She's ready to fight. I don't understand the reason why the decision to go to the old woman rather than her.
Yeah. I agree there. I was kind of excited for the fact that the old woman was being brought in and taking a more active role at first,
Mm-hmm.
because she was just the Joa lady who was walking around selling the snacks, and then you
Yep.
realize, wait a minute, the show's been giving us hints this entire time, um,
Mm-hmm.
that she is more than she appears. You know, that she's
Important.
a yeah, that she's important to the story. But then, yeah, when she took over the piloting duties, and we got her whole backstory where she was in love with the Miko who got selected to be the sacrifice.
Uh huh.
However many years ago that was, like 60 years or something. That
Uh, that that would be 72 years ago.
72 years.
Yep.
Okay. Um,
It's that long. Yes.
that the problem that I had with that was, that story had to compete
Mm-hmm.
with, the dragons taking Mitatsu to its resting place. So the actual journey, like the physical, geographical journey, and it had to compete with Hisone having her realization that she doesn't have to choose between, love and work. I guess because
Yep.
I think at its core that's what Hisone Tomasatan is like trying to get across with this ridiculous, convoluted, you can't love anybody spiel. Is you don't have to choose between love and work. You can have both.
Well,
Um,
right.
but there's a whole bunch of crap piled on top of that that it
That's
kind of
right.
obscures it. And to begin with, this is a show about dragons that turn into fighter planes. So it might have been doomed from the start, honestly.
Yeah. Well, right. I agree with you, and I do think that on the plot regarding that old woman, it's really forced that like it eventually have to deal with um Hisone pro issue as well, and they try to put all of this all together. It actually kind of like overwhelming in an underwhelming way. It's just bad. Everything it just bad to me.
Right. Yeah, I know what you mean. I didn't appreciate how many things were jam packed into episode 11. I am interested in her relationship with the girl because
Yep.
there's a lesbian romance there.
Mm-hmm.
And she says at one point, because the whole idea is you can't pilot a dragon when you're still in love.
Mm-hmm.
So when she's piloting Masotan, or what's the other name, Montpellier or something, that she
Yeah. Yeah.
gave
Yeah.
to Masotan a long time ago, she's piloting the dragon, and her feelings for the old Miko girl. I
Mm-hmm.
did I write her name down? I did
Mm-hmm.
not.
I don't
Um,
think. Yep.
Masotan starts to go berserk with his crazy ringed eyes and all that stuff. And she, like, the woman, Sada-san, in the cockpit is yelling, like, how much more am I going to have to suffer? How long am I going to have to bear the weight of my sins?
Mm-hmm.
So I think there is a certain depth to the pain that she's feeling that could be explored if the show were more focused, if it weren't so nonsensical, if it had more time, if it were like a different show altogether.
Yep.
But in episode 11, I don't think it has enough room to breathe.
Yeah, that's right. And for the Miko that died, did you think she died? Uh,
Um, that's a good
that
question.
she's a sacrifice, yes, and she leaving the place, yes. But is she die like inside the dragon's bodies
I mean,
organs?
we see her clothes, her outfit, just like
Yep.
floating around in the dragon's stomach. So that's interesting. First of all, why has Mitatsu not digested that uniform after 72 years? Uh, maybe that's like a hint or something that the girl is still alive because she wasn't digested either. Or I don't know. I think she
I
is
don't
dead.
know.
Yeah, I think she is dead, and I think that's supposed to be some big tragic thing. We're supposed to feel sad. And
Huh.
Hisone and Okunogi somehow, by proclaiming their love to each
Had to
other,
try
are going to
and
save.
had to save the other girl,
Yeah, that's
Natsuko.
yeah, that's gonna be the end, I think.
Huh.
And there will be much pomp and circumstance that goes along with it, and I'm not really gonna care one whit.
Yep. Alright, we only got one episode left anyway, so let's get it done.
Yeah, I'm about done. I mean, there is more I could say, and I do have more written in my notes, but I don't really feel like it. How
you,
about
you
you?
can you can say one more thing on the note.
No,
And
I actually don't want to. Do you want to go any longer talking about this show?
nah, it's alright. I'm done with Hisone no Maso-tan. Hisomaso.
Hisomaso.
Hisomaso. That's the only good thing that I remember about the show.
Yeah,
Oh,
I do love that eye catch.
and the visual the visual is very nice.
Yeah, but I hated. Oh yeah, but we don't have to get back into that. Yes, I agree that for the most part, it's a nice looking show. Bones doing good things, unique things too. In this case,
Yep.
so
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate that they occupy that place in the anime industry. They're a huge, high-profile studio, but they do take risks.
No, yep. All right, let's
Time for
get to
Rose of
the
Versailles. Yes,
yep
let's do it.
the yep the last show and the last batch of a classic show,
Yes.
and it is considered, I think it is considered a very classic jose shochu show,
Yeah, shoujo.
and I think it deserves it.
You
Just
think?
let
You
put
think
it this
so?
way. Yes, yes, I think so. Yes, after watching the whole thing, yes.
Okay. I was not that hot on the last 5 episodes. I did enjoy them
Mm-hmm.
quite a bit,
Mm-hmm.
but the I was like in love with the show in the for the last 5. I
All
was like,
right.
okay, this is going into the list of all time greats.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but for
But
me,
it
the
not.
conclusion was not as
That's
exciting.
all right. That's the one thing I don't like about all the conclusions,
Sure.
which is yeah. Can we talk about that now?
Yeah,
Which
sure.
is
Yeah, we can jump around.
all right. There is one thing that I don't like about this conclusion is the focus on the love between Oscar and Andre, which actually for me overwhelming many others details
Hmm.
developments.
I see. Say more about that.
All right. I it actually so for the first few episodes we see like how Oscar realized that she getting sick, how Andre realized that he going blind.
Right.
So that's that all of the ingredient for all the melodramatic stuff that will come later, along with the revolutions, and then we see like how she find out how she realized that she in love with Andrew, and they spend a night together, and that night, that fateful night, they become husband and wife, which
Yeah.
which bring me to two issues regarding that. First, how the hell that's sleeping together that can become husband and wife?
Well,
That just
like you just said, it's a shoujo series. That means like young girl. So I think the narrator was sanitizing things for the younger audience. That's why we get a shot of them, naked and embracing. We don't see any, any naughty bits or anything.
kissing.
Yeah, well, yeah. Well, we don't even see the lips together. We see it from the characters' heads
Yep,
obscure that. But that's
yep.
the narrator by saying that was the night they became husband and wife is trying to communicate probably to a younger audience that this is the night when they really truly proclaim their love for one another.
All right. That yep. That's I have an issue with, and the other one was afterwards when Oscar the night later, the day later when Oscar go to the her when when Oscar just like say that now she become Andrew's wife and she will do what he want.
Right.
Basically, she regrets into the woman wife role, and I don't really appreciate that at all.
Well, I know what you mean. When she said that, I was kind of startled. I was taken aback.
Yep.
But I think that what we're meant to get from that is that her whole life, starting from infancy, I guess, when her dad decided that she was going to be raised as a man,
Mm-hmm.
these choices about what role she would occupy were made for her. She
Mm-hmm.
didn't
Mm-hmm.
she didn't get to make a lot of decisions about whether she would become a member of the royal guards or I mean, she said in the very first episode, she said to her dad, "Okay, fine, I'll become a member of the Royal Guards, but not because you want it. It's my choice." But was it really?
Mm-hmm.
No,
Mm-hmm.
because
No, it's not.
from birth, she was set up to to play a male role. And so when
Mm-hmm.
she says, "Who I am now is Andre's wife, and I want to be with him and follow the path that he sets out," that's something that she actually is choosing for herself. So finally, she is
Mm-hmm.
achieving some measure of independence, even as she decides that she wants to submit herself to the path that the love of her life is setting out for her. And
All right.
it should be noted that she still maintains a leadership role
Yep.
until her
Mm-hmm.
death. Like she is in charge of Company B or whatever they're called of the French guards, and she's the
Mm-hmm.
one who leads the charge when they're figuring out the cannons. She's got her arm up and she's saying fire.
Mm-hmm.
Until her death, she is still a strong character and still maintains her leadership role.
Except for that night that she moping around uh, with Andre dead. I I can feel for her. I just feel that it's a bit too much.
When she just like abandons everyone else and goes out and rides on
Yeah,
her horse on the bridge, and then the horse gets shot.
and has a friendly fight with the three
Yeah,
guys from the enemies. Yes,
yeah, that was a pretty friendly fight. She just kept dodging all of their lunges. I
and,
thought I thought she was gonna go like full dark mode and cut all of them down in rage.
yeah, but she doesn't.
No.
Uh, all right, and actually we can see some of the bird again.
Yep. That
Now,
she's looking
now,
up at the bird as she dies.
yeah, and it's Andre supposedly.
Yeah, probably. That's how she feels at least.
That's the I think that's a pigeon, not the dove that
Yes.
I said the other days.
Yeah, I would have assumed that they were doves too, but they do kind of make pigeon noises. They make that like
Hmm.
it's like a pigeon noise. And
Oh.
Andre says he can hear the pigeons flying overhead when he's dying, even though he's blind. He
Yep.
can hear them coming home to roost.
Hmm. And how do you think about the Android death, the death of Android?
Let
Are
me
you
scroll to it in my notes. I have tons of notes. That was
all right?
episode 38. No, 39. Wait,
All right, yeah.
I'm lost.
He's died at 39 and
Yeah,
Oscar died at 40, I think.
right. Yeah. Yeah, okay, here's one thing that I really did like about Andre's death scene. So in episode
Oh.
37 at the end, there's the scene of the two of them naked and embracing. And
Mm-hmm.
then after that, we get a shot of Oscar lying on her back with her eyes closed and Andre like looking
Yep.
over her and perhaps kissing her.
Mm-hmm.
As Andre is dying, that exact same shot is reversed. Andre is lying on his back with his eyes closed, having just passed away, and Oscar is above him in the same position with her head close to his.
Wow.
So
All right.
that's
Then
the
one
show's
thing
way of
that
indicating that she's thrust by his death. She's thrust back into that male role, and she has
all right.
to lead the unit and all that stuff.
There's one thing that I need to correct you though. That I remember that when Andre died, his eyes was open the whole time.
Even during that shot, that like specific
I
shot.
don't remember that. So I think he was closing his eyes and cry before he opened his eye again and died.
I
So
de-
he died with he died with his eyes open. That I'm pretty sure of.
Yes, I do. I do remember that. I kind of feel, based on my memory, as though his eyes were closed in that shot. Maybe they had been closed by somebody, although I don't remember anyone doing that. Maybe his eyes were
Mm,
open.
but
Um,
but 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 that's a good that is a good way that you just say here.
yeah,
Wow.
the roles are reversed. Like before, it was Oscar who was like surrendering the guard that she'd had to put up for so many years, you know, to
Mhm.
maintain her masculinity.
Mhm.
She was essentially that part of herself was dying as
Mhm.
she became one with Andre. And then so that's flipped 2 episodes later when Andre dies, and as a result, she has to put that guard back up and lead her men to recapture the Bastille when
Yep.
she passes away as well.
Yep.
So that I really liked that part in particular of Andre's death.
Mhm.
It
Mhm.
was very sudden the way that they emerged from the sewer or the tunnel wherever they were along the River Seine.
Yep. Yep.
And then all of a sudden there's a soldier there and he shoots and Andre's hit. But
Yep.
a lot of the developments, a lot of the deaths, and a lot of the romantic trysts between characters in the show happened very quickly.
Mhm.
So I was accustomed to that.
All right. There's one thing that I really like about these revolutions is that we get to see the inside of the ones who do the protest. So we see like many point of views inside that. We see Robespierre, what his
Robespierre.
name? Robespierre. Sorry, we see him as more like calculated. It's more like to put all the it's he just want to be a leader. So he want to guide the revolutions into his direction. We see like the Dark Knight, the Black Knight. What's his name? Remy. Oh,
Bernard.
but thanks for that.
Yeah.
We see him as more of the voice of the people,
Yes.
and then we see the one of the Dukeness try to claim his throne again, and we see the other guy who want to assassinate everyone. So we see like different side of revolutionary itself, and
Right.
I
And
really
there's
like. Yep, I really like that.
right. I agree. There's a power struggle between San Just. That's the guy who wants to just kill
Yeah,
everybody.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
And Robespierre. And it's interesting that San Just is actually like up to this point, Robespierre has been the guy kind of spearheading um,
Mm-hmm.
the entry of the Third Estate into the National Assembly and trying to create a voice for the people in government. So
Mm-hmm.
Robespierre has been something of a hero um, until this
Yep.
point in the story. But here in these last 5 episodes, we get a much different picture of him, and it's one that San Just actually, I think I'm saying his name right, actually brings up. And he says that like the reason that Robespierre is doing things the way he's doing them, he wants to
Mm-hmm.
tear down the current system of government so he can reestablish a system with himself at the top.
Yeah, that.
And the show like slowly lets us in on that perspective, even in like you remember the scene where Bernard comes in and says, "Okay, we're gonna storm the Bastille because their
Yeah, yeah,
cannons
yeah.
are pointing at us, and we're gonna." And like Robespierre desperately says, "What are you talking about? I did not give this plan
It's
my
the.
blessing. I don't know anything about this."
Mm-hmm.
So he really is eager to maintain control, and we learn about his
Yep.
ultimate fate in episode 40,
Mm-hmm. Yep. It's in
which
the end of
is
episode 40. So he was captured and beheaded like the
yes,
rest of the nobles, and he
yeah,
was the one who beheaded many of them before that. Which I think that was said at the rage of terrors.
yeah,
That's the term. I just look him up,
yeah.
and his
He's a
his
polarizing figure.
yeah, that's right. His position itself is really fascinating to say the least, because until now there's so many polarizing opinions about him. I
Yeah.
really like that.
When I learned about him in school, I think I may have mentioned this in the last
Yep.
podcast, because I'm from America and the American Revolution and the French Revolution happened at around the same time, so many parallels were drawn between them in my classrooms, my history
Mm-hmm.
classes.
Yep.
So I had thought of Robespierre as like, you know, I had been taught to think of him as a great thinker and a good man and a hero. But
Wow.
there's
Right.
a there's
Mm-hmm.
a there's a different side that's on display here, and I'm sure that, that even putting Rose of Versailles to the side, that in history he
Mm-hmm.
wasn't squeaky clean.
Wow. I speaking of my own history, we from the communist. So actually, from the very early stage of the communists, like Max and whoever else, think of Rosbe, oh my god, what his name?
Robespierre.
Robespierre as kind of the great thinker as well. So yes,
As a
there's
what?
some parallel as a great thinker,
Okay.
as
I mean,
a
he
at the true side of revolutionists. That's what they
right,
put.
and being on the side of the people.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But yeah, we do see another angle to his role in the French Revolution here.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I can believe it. There's a speech, a point that Saint Just makes in episode, let's see.
38, I think.
No,
37 or
it's
38.
I just found it. It's 36.
All right.
Um he's talking, I think, to Bernard, maybe,
Yep. Mm-hmm.
about his belief in the human condition, that we're, from the time we're born until the time we die, the only thing that we do is think about ourselves and our own
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
survival and our own potential gain. So that's why he believes the things that he does about Robespierre, and that's why he's an extremist, because for him, if everyone is self-interested, then all that matters is the end result,
Mm-hmm.
because
Yep.
everyone's functioning the same way. So all that matters is the outcome. And when he said that, like, I can sympathize with somebody who believes that most people are self-interested and are greedy, and will put their own interests above the interests of others.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly think that's the case. I think that motivates a lot of people's behavior, is self-interest.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So the show, for me at least, the show was able to humanize Saint-Just at the very end, when before
Mm-hmm.
that he had just been a guy who tries to assassinate Oscar all the time.
That's right.
So I appreciated that.
Mm-hmm. That's a lot more of good point as well. So we got more political, more than ever, and we see the last of Queen Mary Antoinette, and their uh, and the king, and we see the last um the last meeting between her and Fersen.
Yes.
Uh,
The king shuts that down, doesn't he?
yeah, the king shut that down.
When
But
Ferguson is
hey,
helping them escape, he's like, "Thank you, Ferguson. You may go now."
but he actually saved Fersen by that, because
Well,
afterwards they were captured.
that's true.
Yeah.
But I think that I think that the show has kind of tried. We don't get a lot of FaceTime with the king. We don't hear a lot from him. It's more about Marie
Mm-hmm.
Antoinette. It's more about Ferguson. It's more about Oscar.
Yep.
But there are two instances that I can think of where the king really asserted his authority as Marie Antoinette's partner and kind of gave Ferguson the boot. This was one of
Yep.
them,
Yep.
and the other one was after her son had passed away,
Yep.
Joseph, and she's
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
praying to like the statue of the Virgin Mary, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, and Ferguson is like, he's looking on as she's doing that, and he's wondering whether he should approach her or not. And then the king comes up behind him, and he's like, um, I don't remember if he says anything to him, or that was a while
Yeah.
ago, so I don't exactly remember the
Yep.
exchange. But he's like, he kind of puts his hand on Ferguson's shoulder, and he's like, "I've got this,"
Yep. Mm-hmm.
which I kind of liked. I like that the show is giving, all these characters who we don't hear as much from or see as much of.
Hmm.
It's giving them a bit of personality in their actions and in the small bits of dialogue they have.
Yep. What I find unbelievable though was Marie Antoinette turned to like her hair turned white at the end
Yes.
after one night.
Right. Well, it was three. I think there was a 3-day
All
journey
right.
because remember there were the crowds swarming in the streets and it took the carriage so long to
Yep. Yeah.
actually
Yep.
get back to Paris. I think that
All
was
right.
three
So
days.
after 3 days. All right.
Yeah.
I was
I mean
wrong. Sorry.
that still doesn't make any sense. I
No.
mean, you're still correct to think that that's unbelievable. I wonder
All
if
right.
anything similar happened in history.
Uh,
Like
maybe
if
that in history, I can recall a lot of similar things happen in the fairy tale.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
like, maybe her hair didn't turn white in real life, but it's possible that you know how she had a reputation for being like really beautiful,
Yep. Yep. Yep.
which was the reason that the common people adored her at the start.
Hmm.
It's possible that like when she was getting ready to like in the days and weeks, months, whatever, leading up to her execution, it's possible that like she lost her beauty. Like maybe she developed wrinkles or maybe her
Yep.
hair started to get darker or started to fall out because stress does do that. Like I
Yep.
I took a class once on epigenetics and stuff, and like your genetic code can be like altered, or the way that your genes are expressed can be altered because of stress. So it's
Wow.
I mean
Right.
it's possible that something happened,
Hmm.
but probably not her hair turning from beautiful blonde to like white as a sheet.
Yeah. My God. But yes. Is there anything else on your note? That the
Oh yeah,
important
man.
thing that we need to talk.
Absolutely. Let me scroll through here. Okay,
All
so
right.
the very first note that I made was episode 36 opens with Oscar coughing up blood again.
Again.
Yeah, so I thought back, and the very first time we ever saw her doing that was I think was episode 34, when
Oh. Yeah.
she and the rest of Company B are at like that assembly hall where all the nobles and the clergymen and the members of the Third Estate they're all inside debating.
Mm-hmm.
And she's outside. She leans up against a pillar and coughs
Mm-hmm.
up blood. So the very first time I think that we see that happen is episode 34, and suddenly by episode 36, her condition is so much worse.
Yep.
So
All right.
that strains credibility a little bit. That's kind of fast.
Well, but she's not die of lung anyways.
Right?
So
Yeah,
yeah.
she does die from a bunch of gunshots.
Yeah. I
Um,
rem- I remember one thing I want to talk about, but you can just go on the nose.
do while it's still in your head, do the say what you
All
want to
right.
say.
I like the final scenes between Antoinette, the final note, actually not scene between Antoinette and Oscar. So we have two scene regarding that. One is their physical goodbye, which
Right.
end up in
Well,
tears,
yes.
which both of them know for sure that they're not gonna see each other again because they go in two different directions. That was
Right.
before Oscar decided to be to be in the revolution herself. And the second
Right.
scene was
The
at the end
rose.
where yeah, when Marie Antoinette just realized recognized Rosalie and want her to tell more about Oscar, and she said that she as peace. Just listen to about Oscar. I think that was powerful.
Yeah. I I agree, especially because the show says it has the Marie Antoinette character deliver that line like when I hear about Oscar I'm at peace, and then
Mm-hmm.
immediately um she's executed, she's beheaded.
Yeah.
And we see the thing anime likes to do where it shows the same action 3 times with the guillotine coming down at the different angles. And then the narrator tells us that she's been beheaded right after we
Oh,
learned that because of her memories of Oscar and the stories that Rosalie's telling her that she is at peace. All that being
yep.
said, though, I didn't really get the feeling from that scene that I wanted.
All right.
I was much more keen on the scene where they actually say goodbye in person, and
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
they both have tears in their eyes, and they realize as they're talking to one another, like even as they're trying to convince the other one to see their point of view, I think they both know in
Mm-hmm.
their heart that there's too big a gap between them now, and that it won't
Yep.
be possible.
Yep.
Um, that scene I really liked. The thing with the rose, not as much.
Mm-hmm.
And I really can't put my finger on why. I think it's because at that point, like Antoinette had was kind of playing the role of a villain.
Uh, she more play a role of victim in the story. I think.
She's definitely she's well she is a victim. She's a victim of her own circumstances and her own life. She was thrust into royalty
Power.
and into being a
Mm-hmm.
queen, yes, and power. At a very young age, she was manipulated by older women who were just using her for their own social status and their own financial gain. She had no real friends. She was trapped in a loveless marriage. The only person who she ever did love um, was could not be with her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean her story is totally tragic. But the way that she was acting, the way that the show had her act at the very end, especially because we did not get to see her a lot. We were more focused on
Well,
the combat and Oscar and Andre, so we didn't get to see enough of her to
well,
bring her
I
full circle. I felt.
I think what the show want to frame us, want to frame her, want to show us, is that she a victim of all the things you say, but she more of a victim of like on the on the citizen, see her as a villain. So it's more like she see the face of like on the ugly things that they want to get rid of the royals. So yes, I think the show want us to see it that way, and yeah, I don't know what to make out of it.
Well, it's true that she became the face for the nobility and the royalty, and she became a target of the common people's ire. You know, they needed a
Mm-hmm.
face to hate. Antoinette was that face. But the thing
Mm-hmm.
is that in not only mostly in history, but also in this show, she was kind of a villain. Maybe not in the
Mm-hmm.
show so much as in like. Do you remember the line in the show where the citizens are upset because she said, "If they don't have any bread, then let them eat cake"?
Yeah, yeah.
That's like an extremely insensitive, tone deaf, stupid,
Yep,
callous thing to say.
yep,
And she did spend money like it was water. I
yep.
mean, in the case of the diamond necklace, that was not her. She was trapped by Polignac in that case. Or
Yep.
wait, was it Polignac or was it
No.
Rosalie's
That's
sister, Jean?
Rosalie Sisters. Yep, John.
Yeah.
See the real figures.
Yes. She's the real villain. But like
Yep.
in the episodes and in the moments leading up to Jean's death, I felt that the show gave her imbued her with much more life and much more like well-roundedness and much more
Mm-hmm.
humanity than in the moments
Yep.
leading up to Antoinette's death.
All
I
right.
because it just spent so much time on the actual combat, the fighting, the blossoming love between Andre and Oscar like really fast at the end. Antoinette was kind of
Yep.
pushed to one side, not just for these 5 episodes, but also for the 5 before them, and maybe even the 5 before them.
Yep.
And I think that's a shame because Antoinette's story is a tragic one, and
Yeah. Well, I remember you told me that you don't actually want to see Antoinette face presence like in the beginning of the stories.
yeah. When it was more about like all the court stuff with Dewberry and Polignac and the fake
Yep.
pregnancy and all that. Yeah,
Yep.
I didn't want to see her face. She was annoying and dumb. But
All right.
but there, you know, I understand what a difficult and sorrowful and lonely life she led.
Mm.
Um, and I do sympathize with her. I wish that the show maybe I wish the show were a little longer.
Yep.
Um,
To
and that
fle- to flesh her out more.
yeah, maybe, yeah. I
Mm.
mean honestly, especially given the time that this show was produced, that like the era when it was produced, when a lot of TV anime was just dumb glorified ads for like robot toys and stuff.
Yep.
I think the show does a pretty remarkable job of fleshing out many of its characters.
Mm-hmm.
And I would even include Antoinette in that list
Or
for certain segments of the series.
right. For me, she gets getting better and better as as the story goes on. As she's more wise and mature for her compared to her young self.
Yeah. When
Uh,
she stepped away from life in the palace and wanted to like just be with her kids because she found the most fulfillment and the most value in her role
yep.
as a mother, that's when I
Mm.
really like came around on her character, and I felt the same way that Oscar felt very early in the story when she admired Antoinette's just
Mm.
frankness and openness and honesty, and like her lack of, she didn't have two faces like everyone else in the court. She was her own
That's
person and she followed her bliss.
that's right.
So I did
Mm.
feel that as the story went on.
Yep. All right. One other things. Have you finished about Antoinette? Because I gonna address other things.
Yeah, man, go for it.
Is that I think I have the feeling that when this show start in the beginning, they don't actually plan for Oscar and Andre being together in the end.
Do you
I
remember?
mean like they. Yep.
I'm gonna
That's what
interrupt
my
you.
feeling. Yep.
Do you remember in the very first episode of the podcast we did, episodes 1 to 5, I said that I thought
Yep.
they might end up together in the end,
All right.
and
I
you were
don't
like,
remember that.
there's no way. And
Oh
then
my
as
god.
time went on, I was like, yeah, you're right, Mario. They're not going to be together. It's more about Antoinette and Ferrison where the romance is concerned, but they were.
Oh god. And well, I don't know what to what to think about that. I mean, in some way, I can agree with them being together, but yes, I feel like that last 5 episodes, that love overwhelmed other things that I want to see more.
Hmm.
And so basically, the last 5 episodes is more about their love, their dumb love, and the revolution itself.
Right. Yeah, well, I mean, it's
Uh,
definitely about the revolution. I would say it's more about the revolution than anything else, even Oscar's character. Because even Oscar's like decaying health and Andre's his blindness are
mhm.
those characters are physically declining as the old regime of French society is declining. Those two things
All
are
right.
happening in parallel. So Oscar's entire like journey and descent into like despair and solitude after Andre's passing, and same
Yep.
for Andre, his eventual death and his blindness, his loss of his ability to see Oscar, the woman that he's loved his entire life.
Mm.
Those I think those two things represent um, like the death of nobility and the
The,
the
the rise.
yeah, just everything that's going on, like French society plunging into chaos and murder and bloodshed.
Yeah. Well, one thing I like is that this is about at the end it's more about story of the revolution,
Yep.
but as soon as Oscar died, it jumped forward to like 5 years later. So
Yes.
it stopped as soon as Oscar died. So it's more like the revolution in her views.
Right. I agree completely. The
And
show, all the way to
I
the
like
end,
that.
it managed to keep Oscar in focus in the center.
That's right. That's right. That's right. And as Rosalie recalled the event afterwards, it's more of the bloodshed. So it's more like they Oscar and Andre died at like the very peak of the revolution itself.
I don't think I agree with that.
All right.
Because Alan says it may have been a blessing that they died so early before things started to get really bad and everyone's heads started getting chopped off. And then
Yeah.
Robespierre and Saint Just eventually they were executed because the I guess the citizens weren't satisfied with the way that they were running things. So
They were
I
scared.
think yeah, I mean they probably didn't want to see Robespierre turn into another Marie Antoinette, Louis XVI, or just a general tyrant or a member of the nobility who doesn't care about the common
Hmm.
man.
Yep.
So I kind of think as though Oscar and Andre, like as Alan said, they died at an appropriate time after they had left their impact and contributed to the overturning of French society.
Hmm. Hmm.
And in that way, they because they were too like they were among the purest characters, like with the most untainted souls in this entire
That's right.
story. So it was fitting, I think, that they died before the guillotine started coming down.
Yep. Can I ask one question regarding the histories? How
Sure.
how how big, how relevant of the event that happened in that Bastille
The storming of the
prisons?
Bastille.
Yeah. To the French Revolution, is that like the main, or is that like, is that like the main event happening?
No, I would say that the deaths of Louis XVI and Marie Antoinette were much more significant.
All right. Yep.
Um, the and also in terms of like military action and combat violence,
Yep.
maybe the storming of the Bastille is the biggest, based on my memory. But
All right.
the two biggest things that I remember from the French Revolution are the tennis court oath. You remember when the
Yep.
members of the Third Estate are not allowed in,
Hmm.
so they go over to they all stand on a tennis court and they proclaim their independence as a national assembly.
Yep. 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 Yep.
That was the one thing, and the second thing was the mass
The,
murder by guillotine of all the nobles, but especially of the king and queen.
all right. Yep. All right. Got that. So yes, to wrap up, what do you think about this show as a whole? Do you think it stand among the classics? Do you think it stand
Um,
among your favorite ever?
it was it. I think it comes close. I have a list that I keep because I'm a huge nerd
Yep.
of my 25 favorite anime, and every once in a
Mm.
while when I see one that's really like, for example, the most recent edition is K-On! Because
Oh.
I saw it, and I really, really, really
All
loved
right.
it. Uh,
Yeah.
so we can. I'm sure
I
that that's a discussion for another time, probably.
can I just add one thing regarding
Yeah.
that?
What's
So
up?
what show you have to rule out
That
to get K on in?
that is a great question. I can find that out right now because I keep a list again
All right.
because I am obsessed and a
Oh,
geek.
me too, man.
Yeah, I know
uh,
you and I are two of a kind there. The show is actually the show is Sangatsu no Lion.
oh, really? All
Yeah,
right. The the poor show.
yeah. Sangatsu no Lion, I guess, would be 26th. Anyway, the reason
All
I
right.
brought that list up is because I was thinking, like when I was sitting down to watch these last five episodes, if these five are as good as the last five, and if the show
Mm-hmm.
like really hits a home run at the end, I think it'll probably get onto that list of 25.
Yep.
As it stands now, it did not make the cut for me. Um,
All right.
but I thoroughly enjoyed watching it. Even like thinking back in retrospect, even the parts with all the court drama and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
they served their purpose.
Yeah, I
Um,
agree.
and so I would have no qualms or no hesitation in doing like another rewatch of this and say, like 5 years or something.
Yep.
So
I
I enjoyed it a lot. How about you?
Well, I agree with you that some of the episodes was a core to watch, and it was a bit hard to sit through, but like by the end, I think it keep getting better and better, especially like the second half, when it was this was directed by some certain legendary anime directors.
Dazaki.
Uh, yep, that's him. And yes,
Retrospect.
now, yeah, now looking back, I actually agree that all of these first few episodes where they all this unnecessary stuff are actually necessaries to building up. So yes, this show is a legit uh,
It's legit.
great show for me. Yeah, it's legit. It,
Nice.
it's 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 not by the reputation, but it's the quality itself is good.
Yeah,
So
I
yes, I.
definitely liked it. Yeah,
Mhm.
I'm glad we are on the same page. How about
Yeah,
you? Would you say that, like, if you have a top 25, do you think this would fall anywhere in it?
I don't make a top 25 now, so I'm not really sure. I never say that it's not going to be my top 10. I
Yeah,
have my top 10 up.
yeah.
So 25 maybe, but for the general core, I will put that like about 8.5 to 9 out of 10.
Oh wow, okay.
M-
I would go, I would
ma
go I would go a little
ma
a little bit lower.
all right. That's the score of my anime list score, by the way.
Right. Yeah. Um. Okay. Yeah. I think you and I appreciate the show. A lot of the same things about it, and roughly the same amount.
That's right.
And just on a we've been talking mostly about the plot and the characters, but on a technical level, there are some like there are some really neat scenes. I'm especially
Yep.
flashing back to the scene where Oscar and Andre are riding horses on the beach, and the waves
Mm-hmm.
are like cresting and crashing. The sun's in the background. Um,
Mm-hmm.
the there was like that was like breathtaking to me. A lot of the shot choices are neat, especially with the reflections. There are a lot of uses like reflective surfaces. We talked about that a lot last week.
Mm-hmm.
Characters ending up in flipped positions.
Mm-hmm.
I pointed out an instance of that earlier. We also talked about Alan kind of being a mirror image of Andre last week.
Yep.
Alan is my favorite character, by the way.
All right.
By the
I
end, he was my favorite. How about you?
I think the Oscar, still Oscar.
Yep. She'd be a close second for me.
Yep.
She's great.
If I had to vote for a wasted opportunity, that would be Rosalie.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
that's they build her up so greatly in the beginning, and then they don't know how to use her. So she was written out of the story.
Yeah, and she kept
So
showing up like one time every 5 episodes. And every time we
yeah,
would be like, this has got to be her last appearance, right? Nope.
and,
She comes
and
back.
she literally the last one we see in the series.
Yeah.
So yes,
The very
well,
last bit of dialogue we get is from the
yeah.
narrator about Fairson having become a cold-hearted lord who's brutally murdered by his subjects.
Oh yeah. Huh.
As the camera is looking down at Alan, Bernard, and Rosalie on the
Yep.
beach there near the farm where Alan has set himself up so he can watch over the graves of his mother and his younger sister.
Mm-hmm.
So Rosalie, even like for all her lack of relevance in certain parts of the story, she is still there at the end, like as a survivor of the revolution, and kind of as a representation of femininity, the part of herself
Mm,
that Oscar could not
all right.
access as freely as Rosalie could. When I think
Yep.
about Rosalie, that's what I see, like the part of Oscar that is dead and buried, and that
Yep.
eventually she is able to bring back to life um, by recognizing that she feels that she's in love with Fairson and later Andre.
Yep. All right.
So I think Rosalie did serve her purpose, but yeah, if I had to point to one character, as you just did, who the show kind of squandered and didn't know what to do with, it would probably be her, because her revenge plot ends so suddenly.
Yep. And the event happened afterwards when she had to go to the house of Duberry. No.
Yeah, who's her real mother?
Oh no, Polignac. Up
Yes,
up Madame Polignac, and it wasn't resolved like on screen.
right.
So yeah,
She just shows up again later, and she's suddenly Bernard's wife.
Yep. And yes. And
Yeah.
she suddenly become our narrators.
Yes. Yeah. She's delivering a whole
Or
bunch of information at the end. Yeah.
or maybe it was her all along. I'm not really sure.
Oh, you think that the narrator is like a much older version of Rosalie?
Maybe.
Hey,
Now that
maybe.
we
You
talk
know,
about that.
you know what? Speaking of like side characters who are mostly voices to guide us along
Yep.
the story, did you notice that the accordion playing guy who often talks about like the
Oh
river
yes.
Seine, he dies and
Yes.
his son drags his
His daughter.
body to the river.
Is that his
That
daughter?
I thought it was his son, but
I
but
I
as
thought
I
it was his daughter.
watched,
Yeah.
I
Yep.
I thought it could be a woman.
Yep.
I guess it's kind of fitting given what this show does with Oscar's character and her like kind of dual gender.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
It's kind of fitting that we wouldn't be able to totally identify the accordion man's daughter or son.
Yep.
But
Mhm.
that was heartbreaking. And then the
Yeah.
daughter or child, let's say,
Yep. Yep.
picks up the accordion and kind of takes over his
That's
role.
that's right. That's right.
Yeah,
I
that
like
was
that. I like that details.
me too, me too. It was awesome.
All right.
There's a
As we
lot more I
run,
could say, but we're
well,
at an hour and 51 minutes.
if we run so much, so yep. If we run almost 2 hours, let's just end it up by announcing the next classic shows that we're gonna cover.
Yes. What is it, Mario?
And you want to? All right. I will say that. And that show gonna be Nadia, the Secret of Blue Water.
Yes.
If you don't know about that show, it's a show from our famous anime director Hideaki Anno.
Yes.
Before he making the show
Evangelion.
that the show that we all know, but which I haven't watched it yet. And
You have watched it, you just didn't finish it.
all right, I watched the first 3 episodes, so it it doesn't count much.
Yeah. I mean, we Evangelion could have been a candidate for this like rewatch classic kind of program thing, but I
Yeah,
just
but
recently
you
did it
that's right. You just
on, an,
recently did it. That's
on
why.
another channel.
Yep.
But yeah, so that like the thing that's the main reason I'm excited to watch Nadia. There are two main reasons. One is it's supposed to be pretty good, although there is a
Yep.
chunk of like 10-ish filler episodes in the middle that a lot of people say are god awful. This was
all right.
And the reason for that is because Anno suffered from like crippling depression during the production of this series.
Of
So he
this
would,
one.
yes,
All right.
it's actually this one that like caused him to be depressed, and Evangelion was kind of a reflection on that depression.
Wow. Right.
That's what people say. We're gonna as we watch Nadia's Secret of Blue Water, you know, that's something we can try to look for and investigate. Um,
And one interesting thing about Nadia as well is that it's from the concept of Hayao Miyazaki.
is that right?
Yeah, that's right. I just look it up now.
I thought it was based on like a Jules Verne novel.
Well, that they say in the Wikipedia here, it must be true.
Yeah, it's inspired by the works of Jules Verne, particularly 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea.
All right.
The series was created from a concept of Hayao Miyazaki. Yep.
Mm-hmm. So yes, there's something to look forward to.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if it's directed by Anno, it's produced by Gainax, and it's from a concept from the mind of Hayao Miyazaki, based on a work of classic literature.
Yep.
Those are a lot of strong points in favor of watching this series. So I'm excited for it.
All right. So yes, you're gonna hear what our first thought about Nadia next week. So
Yeah.
next week we're gonna cover like on the rest of the seasonal anime, which is they all come to the end, and the first batch of Nadia 1 to 5.
Oh yeah. Look forward to
All
it,
right.
everybody.
All right. Thank you very much for listening. I see you next week.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.